Hey, all my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel, where we embrace our femininity, increase our womanly value, and celebrate our brothers. So join me on our feminine journey to learn, heal, and grow. Hey there, my Crimsonites, and welcome to the Crimson Cure channel. I'm your hostess, femininity coach, and author of the Crimson Cure. And this is my perspective. So we're going to get right into DL Hughley going off on Monique. Shannon Sharp caught a stray right at the beginning. And this is a profanity-laced tirade that he goes on. And honestly, I'm not sure why he felt the need to do this, because what she said on Shannon's show was not anything new. She'd been saying this. This has been said. Oh, this has been a few years now. And he has already addressed her in whatever way he wanted to address her or what have you. And so her repeating the same exact story in the same exact way that she said it before, and you already responded to the initial beef that and grievance that she said she had with you, there's no need to rehash it just because she went on an interview. But we're going to take a look. This is about a 3.5 minute, or 3 minutes and 43 seconds to be exact. Watch the language. Okay. So if there are sensitive ears, just please be aware of it. Let's go.
Messier. It's almost like, well, Club Shay Shay is getting messier and messier. It's almost like Wendy Williams didn't go anywhere. She just got a weight set. So Monique was on. Every time I see Monique these days, she's on doing some greasy ass video with her and her daddy complaining about something or working out. I don't know nobody that work out that much and gain weight unless every crunch you do has got Captain in front of it. But apparently she goes on Club Shay Shay and tells the story about how she came on my radio show and I wasn't there at the time. And my co-host Jasmine Sanders played a game that we played all the time with everybody called Would You Rather. She apparently was so offended by that she says she got off. She called me. Monique did, and she said I was very dismissive, like, Monique's a liar. When Monique did call me, I heard her complaints. I listened to her and I pulled the segment. So if I had been as dismissive as she alleges I was, that segment would have aired. It didn't, because I respected her wishes. She's a liar. It's also befuddles the shit out of me how somebody who, as a comedian, talks as much shit about everybody else as she does, she has the temerity to be offended about anything as much shit as you say about people. Then she encouraged everybody, allegedly it stems from the fact that I used to always talk shit about her on video after video, and she encouraged her sweet babies to look at the video and find them. Do that. Do exactly what she says. And you know what you're not going to find? You're not going to find any evidence of that, because Monique is a fucking liar. She's lying about that. But what you will find is Monique talking shit about some alleged contract dispute we had. Look at the ticket. It says DL Hughley, then Monique. She knows the story. But what she did in response to that, she talked about my dog, my wife. This broad even brought out my daughter's personal trauma. My daughter was molested, and Monique brought that shit out and told the world that I allowed my daughter to be raped in front of me. The lying motherfucker. She knows she was lying. And it only stopped when everybody from my family checked her. It's interesting. You know what else you won't see Monique doing? You won't ever see her with her family, videos with her children or grandchildren, because nobody fucks with me. How do you have sweet babies when your own babies don't fuck with you? How do you love us for real when there's no evidence of anybody loving you for real, except your daddy, who you apparently have to pay? And FYI, daughters are paid for by daddies, not daddies who get paid by their daughters. You know what else you won't see Monique doing? Telling jokes. Monique, if she just spent as much time actually writing jokes and writing her Netflix special as she did complaining about not having one, it wouldn't have been trash. It got the worst reviews of any Netflix special in history, because that's what Monique does. She complains and she has grievances. You never see her being a human being. You never see her being sweet and warm to people, except when she's using it to butter somebody up to get something. There's a reason why everywhere she go, shit starts. Everywhere she goes. How is it that nobody fucks with you? Not even your family. How do you? Well, I was on the road getting it. I get it every goddamn week. Look at my schedule versus yours. See how much I'm going. And I still manage to have a relationship that I cherish with my children. Can you say the same? You can't. Because all you do is talk about your grievances and who did you wrong. There's a reason you're by yourself. There's a reason you got to pay a man to love you. It's sad. There's an old adage that says you can't buy love. It's a shame on Nique that you probably always will have to.
And so there you have it. That was his rant against Monique. I probably could have stopped that in the first 10 seconds, but I wanted you guys to hear it all because I think he's the only one of himself. I think Kevin Hart, she mentioned Tyler, and she mentioned Okra. And I think DL is the only one that has publicly responded to that interview. She's been doing these interviews and she's been making live streams about these subjects for quite some time. So there's really, I didn't think personally that there was a need to respond to it. She didn't say anything new. She didn't say any new information about it. But that's not necessarily what I want to focus on. Who you believe and who you don't believe is up to you. If you think that DL is correct in the situation, or if you think Monique is correct in the situation, that's actually aside the point. The point that I really want to talk about is the stray that Club Shay Shay caught. I don't like that stray. I don't like that he was compared to Wendy Williams. I feel like it's low-key jealousy that his show is doing better than it has been, and not that it was ever doing bad. Once he started paying more attention to it after he was off of, because he had Club Shay Shay while he was on the show Undisputed, right, with Skip. But after he left Undisputed, he started paying more attention to Club Shay Shay, which is his baby, right? His podcast. And so it was successful to begin with because, okay, obviously Shannon Sharpe is a celebrity, so he knows celebrities. So he's able to pull big names on his show. He wasn't doing like this struggle show or whatever. Now his show has changed a little bit format, so it's more refined, which it's gonna be, as you do content creation, you figure out what works and what doesn't, hopefully, and you upgrade your production value and all of these types of things. So all of this really kicked off with Cat Williams' interview. Cat Williams' interview and all of the things that he said really caught a whole bunch of people's attention. Millions of people, it caught their attention. And a lot of people that Cat named names, because he named just more names than Monique did. The only difference was he wasn't coming from a place of necessarily these people personally doing stuff to him. He was making his observations and saying what he knew. And so therefore, that caught a whole lot of traction. It boosted Club Shay Shay's show into another realm, right? So now he's one of the top podcasters with millions of subscribers at this point. His videos get millions of views at this point. The reason why I kicked off with Cat is because Cat said what some people would term controversial things. And now it's only controversial if you don't like what he's saying. You understand? It's not messy on Shannon's part. He doesn't know what people are going to say on his show. He asks very open-ended questions and they say whatever answer they saying. Cat was being Cat. Cat wasn't being nobody else but him. He's the same way on every interview. Every interview you go to, Cat is the same way. So therefore, it's like you kind of know what you're about to get into, but you kind of never know with Cat. Cat says whatever's on his mind. And Shannon just allowed him to do that. He just like he allowed Steve Harvey to do it. He allowed Cedric the Entertainer to do it. He allowed everybody that's been on his show to do the same thing. He didn't change his style up. He didn't change what he was doing just because people now find that the subject matter or what the interviewees are saying to be controversial. A lot of people didn't like what Cat Williams had to say. So now it's quote unquote messy. And people don't like what Monique had to say. And now it's quote unquote messy. But to compare him to Wendy Williams, a woman that didn't do nothing but keep up trash, she didn't do nothing but drag people through the mud, people's name. She didn't do nothing but whether the information was true or not, whether it was a rumor, whether it was something substantiated or not, she was ready with the so-called tea, and she was ready to spill all the so-called tea on you. And it didn't matter whether it made you look good, made you look bad, made you look stupid, or made you look whatever it is. She was ready to say it about you to get viewership and to get all types of stuff. This was starting from her radio show days on into her TV show days. Okay. Wendy Williams did nothing but keep up a bunch of trash about people. She always had people's name in her mouth. This wasn't interviews where somebody else was saying something that might have been controversial. This was her. She would talk crap about you directly, right? I have yet to hear Shannon Sharpe do that with anybody. The people that come on his show, just like when Kat was like, you let these people come here and lie to you. And his response was, how do I know they're lying? I just let them say what they're saying, which is what a good interviewer will do, because he's got to be impartial. He's got to be neutral. He's got to be unbiased. It's not about his opinion. It's not about whose side he's on. It's not about who he believes or whose story he believes. It's about letting you. He's getting big names on the couch to talk to them and let them speak. He asks the questions that he wants to ask. They say whatever the answer going to be. And if it go viral, it go viral. What content creator don't want to go viral? So people will sit here and say, oh, he messy, but he get 10 million views every video though. So we like mess or we don't. He messy or nah? He messy. If he messy, everybody like it. Because they go march right over there to look and hear the tea and participate in the tea and kiki and TT and he all about what somebody said. So to liken that man's show to really, in my opinion, to demean his show, because I've never liked Wendy Williams and I've never liked anything that Wendy Williams was about, because she wasn't about impartial interviews and she was about dragging you. If dragging you was going to get views, she was going to drag your whole name and talk about your family. She going to talk about everybody. And people was calling her out left and right. And she just shrugged it off like, oh, well, I said what I said. It's my show, blah, 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 blah. And she didn't care what she said about nobody. So I don't like that. Shannon is doing his thing on his podcast. Don't nobody come to say nothing about what DL is doing on his radio show. Steve Harvey got a radio show. He say whatever he want to say. When they have little interviews and all this kind of stuff, nobody has nothing to say about what the people that they interview say. When Breakfast Club have their little interviews and stuff like that, people get on there and say all kinds of stuff. Nobody points the finger to DJ Envy and Charlamagne all the time about what the guests say. And that comment just rubbed me the wrong way, because if he's messy, then Barbara Walters was messy. Oprah Winfrey was messy, right? All these talk show hosts are messy too. Correct? We just gonna lay that on his show and his podcast because nobody was paying attention. All of these people that's got something to say was not paying attention for the last couple of years that Club Shay Shay was going. When he had sports people on there and other actors and stuff like that, when he was interviewing them people, nobody had nothing to say. It's the same format. He ain't doing nothing different than what he was doing. So, you know, folks like to talk out both sides of their neck, and I'm going to need people to have the same energy everywhere. Anyways, jump down in the comment section. Let me know what you think. Like, share, subscribe to the channel if you have not. Once again, I'm your hostess, The Crimson Cure, and this was my perspective. Bye-bye, Crimsonites.